We are so glad to have Dr. Charles Miller back on the show. He is with Scenic City Neurotherapy. Good to have you this morning.
Thanks for having me.
I'm really glad that you've chosen the topic that you had this morning, because of late, when you've come on, we've talked about the therapies that you use, ketamine and others, and why they are so beneficial. But this morning, you kind of wanted to focus on the heart of why you do what you do. And as a very quick setup, if you are watching this morning and you struggle with mental illness of some sort, actually if you have chronic pain, what they're doing in their office can really help you. So that's my setup, and I'll let you kind of take it from here.
Well, next week is Mental Illness Awareness Week. We are taking this opportunity to try to bring that awareness to the public as much as possible, helping people better understand the physiologic nature of mood disorders, that, the stigma that this is a thinking problem or this is something they can, just, think their way out of. And if that were the case, they would have by now.
Right.
This is a very physiologic problem that can be treated in a very physiologic way. Now, there is still a very much need for our counselors for guidance and our mental health providers. This is not a substitute for our typical process with these people who struggle. This is an adjunct to help them succeed.
Kathy Milam from the National Alliance for Mental Illness, the Chattanooga chapter, NAMI, was on this week, and she was talking about some efforts that they have coming up to raise awareness and let people hear. It's called narratives. What it is like to either be the caregiver for or the person yourself who struggles with mental illness, because it is not a one-size-fits-all diagnosis.
Right.
But she was talking about the difficulty in helping a person who does struggle understand that the treatments they have to go through are key to their success. So when they come to you and you can kind of jumpstart them,
right,
does that help in that effort?
Almost definitely. I oftentimes tell my patients, think of this as a first step in a new direction of managing your mental health. We deal with the mechanisms behind the mental health disorder, and we, set them on a path to succeed, and that's carried forward by their counselors and other mental health providers. It's just enhancing the tools they have to get to where they want to go.
I'm afraid I'm going to sound like I'm just sucking up to you, but there's a humility about you. When you come on the show and you talk about what you do at Scenic City Neurotherapy, it's not that you're apologetic, I don't mean it that way at all, but it's almost like you know firsthand what it is that you can do, and you just are hoping that people can see it too.
It can't really be understated, the successes we've seen, the people that struggled. We've had people that were completely non-functional, haven't left their house in years, that were drug in by a family member. We have people that have just been, going through their day-to-day life and just aren't content with the way their mental health is progressing.
Now, you do a lot with veterans too. I know that it's easy to think about this being somebody who maybe was born with a condition, but often it's a PTSD related result.
And absolutely, PTSD is one of our strongest responders with ketamine infusion therapy. We treat a lot of our veterans, a lot of our Chattanooga and Hamilton County police officers, first responders. The fact of the matter is this is something that happened to them. This is something very acute, typically, that happened, or even something over a long period of time with frequent traumas. And most of them have either a PTSD or a complex PTSD diagnosis. Both of those diagnoses respond very well to ketamine infusion therapy, and we have we have a scholarship that provides specialized pricing for our first responders that's funded by Scenic City Neurotherapy, as well as other veterans and first responders that have benefited from treatment and decided to kind of pay forward to the next.
You can't make a complete promise because each case is individualized, so all you can really do is talk about the general results that you find. But I think what you told me in the past is with these ketamine infusions, people come in, it's intended to be a way to kind of expedite the healing, if you will, so that as you're working with your therapist and taking the medications, what you're doing just speeds up that process and make the results come faster.
Right. It's this is not something that is replacing anything else in mental health. What they've been doing works. It's just this is an adjunct to speed the process along, to kind of get us out of our own way from a physiologic standpoint. Enhancing communication in the brain is essentially what we're doing. And when the brain's functioning optimally, it's easier for the patient to work through these traumas and go through things with their counselor, make plans to move forward and reach their goals.
Does it ever happen that as you expedite things through your infusions, that maybe you come off of medication sooner or anything like that?
That's a long-term goal for a lot of our patients. We have many patients that over time and with the work they put in with their counselors and healthcare providers, that they are able to come off their medications. And yeah, absolutely, that is one of their long-term goals. But it's not a rapid process. It's slow and steady, and it's guided by their current prescribers.
And I think that's what's so difficult when you're dealing with a mental illness situation, is that there is no quick fix, if you will.
Yeah, there's no magical approach. I wish there was.
Yeah, which is why, though, you need to be walking hand in hand with people who do understand that and who can provide not only you, but those who love you, the encouragement and the support, because it can become very taxing.
It can. It's living daily with mental health. Some people view mental health struggles as a weakness. I look at it very much. These are some of the strongest people I've met. I look at how they struggle on a daily basis, and if I were someone that struggled like that, I don't know that I could handle it as well as they have up to this point. And so, you come at it with, understanding what their daily struggle is, because we see it so often, and because, the variety of patients we treat, we're very understanding of that. We kind of meet you at your own pace and take you through this process and make sure you're educated and have adequate expectations.
When it comes to the education, I'm not sure I've ever asked you this before, but when people come to your office for the first time, they don't have to sign on the dotted line that yes, they want this initially, do they?
No, actually, we do free consultations, and free, sometimes attributes no value. This is an hour of our provider's time. And we go through this process from start to finish. We make sure that the patient understands that, how this treatment works. We set adequate expectations, and we develop a plan for follow-up. So even after we finish stabilization and move it to the maintenance side, we're able to make sure that the patient isn't just left on their own afterwards.
And what ages do you see?
Over at the age of 18.
Okay.
The oldest patient we've done is 94.
Wow.
It's and she tolerated the treatments beautifully. They're very physiologically passive. Ketamine is the safest anesthetic we have. It's a children's anesthetic approved for 6 months and older, and we give it very slowly at a very low dose over a period of time to stimulate the effect.
And this ketamine that you're using is different, not that we're going to get into too much of a conversation here, than what you may have heard before about a street drug. It's not the same thing.
Well, it's it is and it isn't. The street drug is a diverted medication. Ketamine is used, it's because it's so safe, it's used in all sorts of different anesthesia practices, whether it be human, veterinary, and then it gets anything that makes you feel strange, unfortunately, people will divert and abuse.
So next week, with it being Mental Health Awareness Week, are y'all doing anything special? Are these special offerings that you have for veterans and first responders? That's kind of a continuing effort on your part.
It is. It's something that is there, 7 days a week. We're open Sunday through Friday, and we start taking our first patients at 9 a.m. and we do our last infusion at 6 p.m. 6 days a week, and it's we stay pretty full, but we keep a lot of hours to make sure that we're able to take people in quickly and get them through the process as needed.
It's really an exciting time to be in your field because we're understanding more about mental illness. We're finding new approaches to it, and thankfully much more patience and support for those who struggle with it. So always good to see you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Dr. Charles Miller at Scenic City Neurotherapy. Their phone number, website, and address right there on your screen. As you heard him say, they're open Sunday through Friday to make it convenient for you to get the help that you very much deserve. Thanks again.
Thank you.
We are rocking.